Local Gara, in a land of myth and a time of magic, the destiny of a great kingdom rests on the shoulders of a young boy. His name, Merlin. Edwin pulls a bug out of a box. Edwin places the bug in some flowers. Edwin, BBOD arise in Eildu. At Morgana's chambers. Gwen enters with Edwin's flowers and gives them to Morgana. Gwen, look what's just arrived for you. Morgana. Who are they from? Gwen, I don't know. Maybe Arthur. Morgana, how disappointing. Gwen, why? Who'd you like them to be from? Morgana, I don't know. Tall, dark stranger. That night Edwin stands in the square looking at Morgana's chambers. Gwen puts out the candles in Morgana's chambers. Gwen, see you in the morning. Morgana falls asleep and the bug climbs out of the flowers and into Morgana's ear. Morgana's chambers. Gaius examines sleeping Morgana.
Gaius, her body seems to have closed down. Uther. Why? You don't have an answer, do you? Nothing you've tried so far has worked. It's been nearly 2 days. And what do you know? Gaius, I fear she may have some form of inflammation of the brain. Uther, what could cause such a thing? Gaius, an infection, possibly. Rest assured, I will do everything in my power to cure her, sire. At Griffin's staircase, Gwen. Is she any better? Gaius shakes his head. Gwen climbs the stairs as Gaius descends and meets Merlin on the landing. Gaius, she's all but dead. Merlin. Merlin, no, you're going to cure her. You have to. Gaius, don't you start. I've tried everything.
Merlin, I was wondering. Gaius, what? Merlin.
Maybe I could. Merlin waits for a guard to pass by. Merlin, help. Gaius, if you're suggesting magic. Have you forgotten what happened with Gwen's father? This is not a magical illness, it must be cured by conventional means. We keep trying. See if you can find me some fresh rosemary. Merlin, there must be something more I can do. Gaius, and Yarrow, at Main Square. Edwin waits as Arthur comes out to meet him. Arthur, what's your business here? Edwin, my name is Edwin Muirden, and I have a remedy to cure all ills. Arthur, is that so? Edwin, I beg an audience with the king. Arthur, our court has a physician. Arthur begins to walk away. Edwin, I hear the Lady Morgana was gravely ill. Arthur stops and turns. Arthur, that is no concern of yours. Edwin, I might be able to help her. Arthur, our physician has the matter in hand. Arthur continues walking. Edwin, I will be at the inn, in case you change your mind. Arthur's chambers. Arthur sits in a chair while Merlin paces. Merlin, it's gonna be all right. It is. I know it is. She's gonna be absolutely. Arthur, Merlin. Merlin, what? Arthur, you're making me anxious. Merlin, but I'm not worried. Arthur, then stop pacing. Merlin sits down, but then starts tapping his fingers on the table. Arthur gets up and starts pacing. Morgana's chambers. Gaius. I cannot preserve her life for much longer. She has hours, maybe less. Arthur, we cannot let her die. Uther, Arthur, please. Arthur, there's a man, he came to the castle yesterday. He claims he can cure her. Uther, that's ridiculous. He doesn't know what's wrong with her. Arthur, he says he has a remedy that can cure all ills. Gaius, impossible. Arthur, well, for Morgana's sake, surely we should at least hear him out. I mean, what have we got to lose? Please, father. Gaius, probably some charlatan hoping for a quick shilling. Arthur, I don't care. If she's about to die, what harm can it do? Give him his shilling. If there's one chance in a million he can save her, then why not? Uther, send for him. Council Chamber of Doom. Uther, Gaius, and Arthur enter. Edwin drops to one knee and hands Uther a roll of parchment. Edwin Muirden, sire, physician and loyal servant. Uther, welcome to Camelot. Gaius, have we met before? Edwin, I doubt you would forget a face like mine, sir. Uther, do you really believe you have a remedy? Edwin, there are not many ills that I have not seen and successfully treated, sire. So when I heard of the Lady Morgana's sickness, I felt honor bound to offer my services. Gaius, you say you have a cure for all? An antidote for everything? Edwin, yes. Although it is not quite as simple as that. Uther, Gaius is the court physician. Edwin, you are indeed a legend, sir. I am delighted to meet you. I am curious to know what it is that has affected her. Gaius, an infection of the brain. Edwin, and your treatment. Gaius, yarrow. Edwin, yes. Gaius, rosemary to stimulate cerebral circulation. Edwin, interesting. Arthur, why? What would you suggest? Edwin, no, that is all fine. All good. If that is the right diagnosis. Uther, what would your diagnosis be? Edwin, well, without examining the patient. Arthur, he should examine her. Edwin, I would need my equipment. Uther, of course. You'll have use of one of the guest chambers. Arthur, and consider my manservant at your disposal. Edwin, I will start work immediately. Edwin's guest chambers. Merlin sets down some of Edwin's equipment. Edwin, yes. It was all originally designed for alchemy. Merlin, making gold. Edwin, you have an interest in science. Merlin, well, science is knowledge. Edwin, it has the answers to everything. Merlin, maybe. It can't explain love. Edwin, so, you are in love. Merlin, no, I mean feelings, emotions. Edwin, you seem too bright to be just a servant. Merlin, oh, don't be fooled, I'm not that bright. Edwin, yes, we will need that. Now, we must hurry to the Lady Morgana, before it is too late. Morgana's chambers. Merlin and Edwin walk across the square to Morgana's chambers where Arthur and Uther are waiting. Edwin examines Morgana. Edwin, put my equipment over there. Sire, I would be grateful if you could have everyone leave the room. I require peace and privacy. Uther, certainly. Edwin, that includes you, Gaius. Gaius, but I am eager to learn from your methods. Edwin, now is not the time for giving instruction. I will need all my concentration. Uther, Gaius. Everyone leaves and Edwin pulls out the bug box. Gwen enters as he's about to take the bug out of Morgana. He stops and turns on her. Edwin, why are you spying on me? Gwen, I wasn't. I'm her maidservant. Edwin, then bring me some water. Gwen, someone should be with her. Edwin, do you want to be responsible for her death? Gwen, no, but. Edwin, then you will bring me some water. Now, or she may die. Gwen leaves. Edwin, spell. Edwin pulls out the bug, dabs Morgana's bloody ear with a small cloth, and puts the bug back in the box with the others. At Griffin's staircase, Edwin descends the curved stairs to meet Uther, Arthur, Merlin, and Gaius. Edwin, great news, Your Majesty. You will be glad to hear it is not an inflammation of the brain. Uther, what is it then? Edwin, it is cerebral hemorrhage. Gaius, hemorrhage? I don't think so. Edwin, I found this trace of blood in her ear. Edwin shows them the bloody cloth. Uther, God in heaven. Edwin, the severity depends upon the site and volume of the bleed. If not treated, it can lead to coma, and eventually death. Uther, how could you have missed this? Gaius, I didn't see any blood. Edwin, please, just thank the fates that you did not administer more rosemary to stimulate the circulation. Can you imagine what that might have done? Uther turns to Gaius for explanation. Gaius, it may have increased the bleed. Uther, is there a cure? Edwin, See for yourself. Morgana, S. Chambers. Uther, Morgana, this is truly a miracle. Uther kisses her forehead. Uther, I really thought. Morgana. Oh, you won't get rid of me that easily. Gaius. What exactly did he give you? Morgana, I have no idea. But thank heaven he did. At central corridor, Gaius approaches Edwin as he walks down corridor. Gaius, Edwin, I want to offer you my congratulations. Edwin, thank you. Gaius, she was all but dead and you brought her back to life. How exactly did you do that? Edwin, I have developed an elixir for the treatment of just such an ailment. Gaius, I'd love to know the ingredients. Edwin, it is not yet perfected. You must give me more time before I make it public. Gaius, the injury to your face. Edwin, it happened when I was very young. Gaius, perhaps it was I that treated you for it. Edwin, I told you before, we've never met. Gaius. Yes, of course. Well, I'll leave you to your work. Council chamber, Edwin stands before Uther, Arthur, and Morgana. Uther, name your reward. Edwin, I desire nothing more than the good health of my patient, sire. Uther, there must be something I can do for you. Edwin, no, I will wait until the Lady Morgana is fully recovered, and then I will be on my way. Uther, why don't you stay a while? You could live here in the palace. Edwin, no, I feel I would be trespassing. And you already have a court physician. Uther, I'm sure Gaius would be glad of your help. Edwin, it is a kind offer, but... Uther, think about it. Dine with me later. Give me your decision then. Edwin, to dine with your majesty would be reward in itself. Edwin bows. At Hall of Records. Gaius approaches Geoffrey of Monmouth. Geoffrey, Gaius, Geoffrey. I'm here to ask a favor of you. Geoffrey, well, anything for an old friend. Gaius. I wish to see the court records from the time of the Great Purge. Geoffrey, what possible need can you have for those? Gaius, I fear that the past may have come back to haunt us. Geoffrey, all the more reason to keep the records hidden. Gaius, I know that neither of us want to remember that time, but this is a matter of great urgency. Geoffrey, the records are sealed, they cannot be opened. Uther has forbidden it. Gaius, Geoffrey, I beg of you. Geoffrey, I'm sorry, Gaius. This time you ask too much, even for me. At Edwin's guest chamber, Merlin knocks. Merlin, Edwin. Merlin enters the room and examines Edwin's equipment. He opens the bug box. They're still. He closes it, reads the inscription on the cover. Merlin, Bebiodei Arison Eldu. Merlin opens the box to see the bugs moving. Edwin, very good. Merlin turns around, knocking over a jar with powder in it. He hands the box to Edwin. Edwin, Sweffen. The bugs go still. Edwin, you have magic. Merlin, it wasn't me. I didn't do anything. Edwin, then how else did you bring them to life? Only magic can do such a thing. These little angels are how I cured Lady Morgana. They repaired the damage to her brain. They saved her life. Magic can be a force for good. Merlin, I know. Edwin, then why do you fear it? Merlin, Uther has banned it, it's not permitted. Edwin, should I have let Morgana die? Merlin, no, Edwin, people like us, we have a gift. Do you not think it should be used to make this a better world? Merlin, perhaps. Merlin tries to clear up the powder he spilled. Edwin, don't waste your time picking that up. Fiormian Destrenian. The powder goes back in the jar. Edwin, why waste a talent like that? And I can teach you. Merlin, Raiden Orskatan, the jar pours the powder into a bowl. Edwin, what do you use this for? Merlin, Gaius doesn't like me too. Edwin, A gift like yours should be nurtured, practiced, enjoyed. You need someone to help you, to encourage you. Merlin, perhaps. Edwin, imagine what we could achieve if we shared our knowledge. Merlin, I should be getting back. Edwin, of course. But you must promise to keep our secret safe. Merlin, of course. Edwin, people like you and I, we must look after each other. At Gaius' chambers, someone knocks. Gaius, come in. Geoffrey of Monmouth enters with a large book covered in a cloth. Geoffrey, Gaius, you've been a good friend to me over the years, and you've done me many kindnesses. I can't deny you this one request. Gaius, the records. Geoffrey, I know you wouldn't ask unless it was important. Gaius, you must believe me, there's a great deal at stake. Geoffrey, if Uther were to discover this, he would kill us both. Gaius, it is for Uther's sake that I make the request. Trust me, please. Geoffrey hands Gaius the book. Gaius, thank you, old friend. At council chamber. Uther dines with Edwin. Uther, it's unlike Gaius to miss something like this. Edwin, we all make mistakes. Uther, Gaius is a great physician. Edwin, the very best. Which is what I don't understand. Uther, what? Edwin, it's not for me to speak out of turn. Uther, you saved the life of my ward, you may speak as you wish. Edwin, he has been prescribing sleeping draughts for Morgana. Uther, she suffers from bad dreams. Edwin, yes. But the dreams should have been a warning. Uther, you think the two may be connected? Edwin, oh, yes. Uther, a symptom of the illness. Edwin, I am certain of it, yes. And those potions, they masked the problem, and allowed it to develop to the point where Uther, she nearly died. If you hadn't come along when you did. Edwin, but I did, and that is all that matters. Her life was saved. In the nick of time. Uther, will you undertake a review of his work? Just to be on the safe side. Edwin, if it would put your mind at rest, sire. At physician's chambers, Gaius continues to read. Merlin, have you been up all night? Gaius, yes, but it was worth it. Where are you going? Merlin, I told Edwin I'd be up at dawn to collect some supplies. Gaius, well, you better get a move on then. At Edwin's guest chambers, Gaius enters. Gaius, Edwin, your scar has healed well. I often wondered what happened to that poor young boy. Edwin, I told you we've never met before. Gaius, I didn't realize who you were until I checked the records. You used your mother's maiden name. You are Gregor and Jaden's son. Edwin, they were friends of yours. Gaius, they were sorcerers. Edwin, they practiced magic. And so did a lot of people back then. Gaius. Gaius, Uther will be furious when he finds out who you are. Edwin, fine. Fine. Shall we tell him? Let's go and tell him. Let's tell him. Let's tell him everything. Ooh, I know. We could also tell him about Merlin. Gaius, Merlin? Edwin, you didn't know he was a sorcerer. Ah, I wonder what Uther will do. Probably have him burnt. Gaius, you would betray another sorcerer. Edwin, you did. When you turned a blind eye and let my parents die at the hands of Uther. At least Merlin doesn't have a son who will try to rescue him from the flames. Gaius, you're here to take revenge. Edwin, and I have waited a long time. Gaius, you think I will sacrifice the king to save Merlin? Edwin, think about it, Gaius. But if I find out that you have told one other person, including the boy, I will go straight to Uther. Merlin enters. Merlin, I got your provisions. Edwin, oh, thank you, Merlin. Gaius was just reminiscing about old times, weren't you, Gaius? Gaius, yes. Edwin, but now, I must get back to work. At Central Corridor, Merlin, I'd better get on with my errands. Gaius, yes, Of course, you must. Merlin, do you want me to get you anything? Gaius, no, I'm fine. Just do what Edwin asks. At council chamber, Edwin stands before Uther, Morgana, and Arthur. Edwin, I have been through the court medical records with a fine-tooth comb, sire. Uther, and were your findings satisfactory, Edwin? With regret, I would have to say they were not. Uther, how so? Edwin, Gaius is a great man, thorough, and dedicated. Uther, but, Edwin sighs, Edwin. His methods are outdated. He has failed to keep up with the latest developments. This has led to a number of errors. Uther, Gaius has served me well for 20 years, Edwin. And one cannot blame him for the infirmity those years have brought. Age can be a terrible curse. Uther, perhaps it is time to lighten his burdens. Have you given any more thought to my offer? Edwin, yes. I have considered it very carefully. Uther, allow me some time to do the same. Edwin bows and exits. Uther gets up and goes to the table for a drink. Morgana follows him. Morgana, Uther, you can't do this. Uther, you heard what he said. Gaius is old, he makes mistakes. Morgana, Gaius has treated me since before I can remember. You can't cast him out. Uther, you would have died if your care had been left to him. That's something I could not bear. Morgana, I know that, but, Uther, I cannot risk something like this happening again. At Gaius' chambers and Dragon's Cave, Gaius watches Merlin in his sleep. Gaius goes down the tunnel corridor to the Dragon's Cave with a torch. Gaius, hello? It is me, Gaius. The dragon flies up to the rock by the entrance. Kulgara, how old a man can become and yet change so little. Gaius, you have not changed either, Kulgara. 20 years, almost a lifetime to make the short journey back to where you began. Gaius, I'm not here for myself. Kulgara, the boy. Gaius, you know about Merlin? Kulgara, you have struggled against his destiny, but you can no more prevent it than he can. Gaius, so, it is true then? Kulgara, oh yes. He and the young Pendragon one day will unite the land of Albion. Gaius, but he is in danger. Kulgara, no, it is my jailer who stands in peril. Gaius, must Uther be sacrificed for the boy? Kilgahara, their time cannot come until his is past. Gaius, but is that time now? The dragon chuckles darkly. Kulgara, that is of your choosing. Gaius, I will not choose between them. Kulgara, then turn a blind eye. That is, after all, your talent. At Gaius' chambers, Gaius sits and ponders. Arthur, Gaius, my father needs to speak to you. Gaius, when? Arthur, immediately, at council chamber. Gaius, sire, is there a problem? Are you unwell? Uther, this is not an ailment you can treat me for. You've been a loyal servant for many years. I look on you as a friend. Gaius, I regard you in the same way, sire. Uther, you've been here since Arthur's birth, and all that entailed. What I'm trying to do I think is best for you. Gaius, I'm confused, sire. Uther, I'll give you a generous allowance, make sure you're looked after. Gaius, you're retiring me. Uther, I don't want you to worry. I'll allow you to continue living in your chambers until more suitable accommodation can be found. Gaius, because I made one mistake, although in truth, sire, it was not a mistake. Gaius sees Edwin creep out from behind a column. Gaius, it was. Edwin, yes Gaius, Uther. It was unfortunate, I accept that. Gaius, may I ask who is to be the next court physician? Uther, none of this was Edwin's idea. Initially, he turned down the offer. Gaius, I'm sure. Uther, it's not been an easy decision, but the younger man, new ideas. Gaius, yes. Uther, you're hesitant. Is there a reason you oppose his appointment? Gaius, sire. Edwin, if you have anything to say, then say it now, Gaius. Uther, this is difficult for both of us. Gaius, I thank you for your patronage. It has been an honor and a pleasure to serve your family, for all these years. At Gaius' chambers, Merlin enters while Gaius is packing. Merlin, Gaius. Uther cannot do this to you. You tried to save Morgana. Gaius, Uther's not to blame. Merlin, I will speak to Edwin, you can work together. Gaius, no, you mustn't do anything. Merlin, I can't stand by and do nothing. Gaius, Uther's right. It's time I stepped down. Merlin sees him packing. Merlin, what are you doing? Gaius, I cannot stay when there's no longer a use for me. Merlin, you're not leaving. Gaius, I believe it's for the best. Merlin, then I will come with you. Gaius, Merlin, you're like a son to me. I never expected such a blessing so late in life. Merlin, and you are more than a father to me. Gaius. Then, as a father, I must tell you, you must remain here. Camelot is where you belong. Merlin, but you belong here too. Gaius, not anymore. Merlin, you must promise me you will not waste your gifts. Merlin, my gifts mean nothing without you to guide me. Gaius, you have a great destiny. If I have had a small part to play in that, then I'm pleased. Merlin, there is so much I have yet to learn. I need you to teach me. Gaius, I'm afraid I am leaving here tonight, Merlin. And there's nothing you can do or say that can persuade me otherwise. Merlin, I will not let this happen. Merlin exits. Gaius, goodbye, Merlin. At training grounds. Merlin watches Arthur practice. Merlin. I can't understand why Uther would sack him over one mistake. Arthur, a mistake that nearly killed Morgana. Besides, it wasn't the only one. Merlin, what do you mean? Arthur, Edwin said his work was riddled with errors. Merlin, that's nonsense. Arthur, no one wants Gaius to go, but my father's made his decision. There's nothing anyone can do. At corridor, Uther walks with Edwin in the castle. Uther, I think you'll be very happy here. Edwin, I'm sure I will. When I reviewed Gaius's work, I noticed that he's been prescribing you arnica. Uther, it's for, my shoulder, it's an old battle wound. It gives me a lot of pain. Edwin, may I take the liberty of providing a new prescription? It should prove far more effective. Uther, really? Edwin, oh, yes. It is a remedy to cure all ills. At Lower Town, Gwen sees Gaius lead a horse out of the main gate while she buys fruit from a stall. Gwen, Gaius? You're leaving? Gaius, yes, I'm sorry I didn't come and say goodbye. Gwen, I don't want you to go. I don't trust Edwin. There was no blood in Morgana's ear, he put it there. He did something to her, I know he did. Gaius, you need to be careful who you say that to. Gwen, I'm saying it to you because you can do something about it. Gaius, I can't, Gwen, but you think the same, don't you? He's evil. Gaius, it's not that simple. Gwen, so you're going to turn your back on us? Gaius, I have no choice, I'm sorry Gwen. Gwen. In life you always have a choice. Sometimes it's easier to think that you don't. Gaius, well, then. My choice is to leave. Gwen. Then I'll miss you. Gwen kisses Gaius on the cheek. Gwen, goodbye Gaius. Uther's chambers. Uther drinks a potion and passes out on the bed. Gaius sits by a campfire in the woods. Uther's chambers. Edwin leans over Uther's bed as Uther wakes from his drug-induced sleep. Edwin, my lord, it seems the drugs I gave you have taken hold. Your body is now paralyzed. Now, open your eyes, my lord. I want my face to be the last face you ever see. You took my childhood from me. And now finally, I take my parents' revenge. Within a few hours, the beetle will eat into your brain. And you will suffer, as they suffered. And I long to hear you scream, as they screamed the night you gave the order for the fires to be lit. With your death, magic will return to Camelot. Bebio dei Arison il du. The bug crawls into Uther's ear. Edwin, goodbye, Uther Pendragon. At Edwin's guest quarters, Edwin enters. Gaius, I will not allow you to kill Uther, Edwin. You've never had a problem letting people die before. Gaius, your parents were practicing dark magic, just like you. Edwin, and how do you propose to stop me? Gaius. Wache ehrlich. Nothing happens, Edwin. I think you meant, Vaki ilt. The spell throws Gaius against the wall. Edwin, have you forgotten everything, Gaius? You're getting too old. I have a cure though. Forbear Yaffle. The spell encircles Gaius in flames, at Griffin's staircase. Arthur runs in as Merlin descends the curved stairs. Arthur, Merlin, my father has Morgana's illness. We must find Edwin. At Edwin's guest chambers, Merlin bursts in. Merlin, what are you doing? Gaius, he was trying to kill the king. I couldn't let him. Edwin, I can rule the kingdom now. And with you at my side, we can be all powerful. Merlin, release him. Edwin, it's your loss, Merlin. Edwin's spell throws an axe at Merlin, but Merlin stops it. Edwin, Swilter, Merlin. Merlin's magic overpowers Edwin's. Merlin sends the axe to kill Edwin and the flames disappear. Merlin, are you all right, Gaius? Yes. Thank you, Merlin.
Merlin fetches the bug box. Gaius. What are you doing? Merlin, others ill, the same thing Morgana had. Edwin said he used these to cure Morgana. Maybe we can too.
Gaius, Elenthea beetles. Merlin, they're magical. Gaius, yes. They can be enchanted to enter the brain, feed on it until they devour the person's very soul. We must going to him. At Uther's chambers, Merlin, how do we get the beetle out before it kills him? Gaius, it can only be magic. Merlin, we can't use magic on Uther, he'd kill us. Gaius, we don't have a choice. Merlin, Gaius. Gaius, there are times when it is necessary. It is your right. Merlin, I don't know how. Gaius, if you don't, he's going to die. Merlin sits on the bed and places his hands over Uther's ears. Merlin, Bebio dei Arison il du. Orblinen, Gaius. What's happening? Merlin pulls his hands back, holding the still bug in his hand. Gaius, has anyone ever told you, you're a genius? Merlin, you certainly haven't. At Uther's chambers. Gaius prepares a potion for Uther the next morning. Gaius, drink this. It'll help regain your strength. Uther, there's nothing wrong with my strength. Do you remember them? His parents. Gaius, I remember them all, sire. Uther, Gaius. Once again, you saved my life. You've always served me well. And I know there are things that I've asked you to do, which you found difficult. Gaius, you've always done what you believe to be right. Uther, I was not right to betray you. I'm sorry. From now on I will remember that, in the fight against magic, you are the one person I can trust. At council chamber, Gaius stands before the royal court. Uther, I, my family, and my kingdom are deeply indebted to you, and in honor of this, I not only reinstate you as court physician, but henceforth, you are a free man of Camelot. Uther hands Gaius a roll of parchment and the court applauds. At Lower Town, Gaius, of course, it's all ridiculous. I didn't save Uther, you did. Merlin, no for once. I'm happy for someone else to take the credit. You were prepared to sacrifice your life to save me. Gaius, where do you get that from? Merlin, I thought. Gaius, no, I didn't do anything. You saved me and you saved Uther. Maybe you are a genius. Merlin, you think so? Gaius, well, almost. One day.